on, guys? Brant here with CPC Bodybuilding, and today I've got a special guest, Jared Keys, IFBB Classic Physique Pro. We're going to be going through the Charlotte Pro Men's Classic Physique lineup today. So, Jared, where can the people find you before we get going?
What's going on, guys? So I'm on Instagram at Jared Keys Bodybuilding. That's just my name, my last name, Bodybuilding. You guys can also find me on YouTube. I have a Twitter, but I don't really use it. And yeah, I'm excited, guys. I'm excited for this one.
All right, y'all. So show details. It's going to be this Saturday, April 22nd in Charlotte, North Carolina. Prejudging is going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern, finals at 5 p.m. Eastern. No word on the live stream quite yet, but if we find one, I'll be sure to link it in my Instagram page. That's CPC Bodybuilding, as well as the description down below. So we'll go ahead and just jump into the lineup right here. If y'all can see my screen, I've got the whole lineup right here. We're going to just go one by one. Jared and I are going to talk about each of these guys and then also give our top five as well as our picks to win. So first up, we've got Tomas Adame Hernandez out of Huntersville, North Carolina. So Jared, did you get a chance to look at Tomas?
Yeah, I sure did actually, man. So I actually, funny story, I competed against Tomas actually at the Universe. I think it was I want to say 2020 or 2019, one of those two. But he's he's a shorter guy like me, so I'll start off with that. From what I can tell, but he does look like he's pretty complete, man. He's got a lot of good body parts, some really good balance. I'm excited to see what he can do for the shorter guys for us, this weekend.
Yeah, great shape. I think his last showing was Atlanta, where he took 8th last year. So a guy who could definitely make his way into that first or second call out. So that's Tomas Adame Hernandez. Next up, we've got Thomas Allen in his pro debut. And Jared, I want you to talk about this guy specifically because of where you guys competed together last.
Man, so Thomas, this is a good guy right here. A really nice guy, and as you can tell, he's got a tremendous physique. But we'll start off with how me and Thomas actually met. We met at the 2021 Palmetto Classic, actually, and then we competed against each other once again 2 weeks after that at the 2021 Junior USA. Funny story at the Palmetto Classic, he got me for the bodybuilding overall, but I got him for Classic. And then he went on, 2 weeks later, he won the Classic overall at the Junior USA. So this guy's solid, as you guys can see. I think in his pro debut, he's going to do very, very well. He's very complete. He's a taller guy. He's got, as you guys can see, a small waist, great conditioning. So it'll be very exciting to see how he does in his pro debut.
That's Thomas Allen, guys, making his pro debut, the 2021 Junior USA's overall champion in Class D. So a big dude, lots of muscle here. Watch out for him. So next up, we've got Justin Baturina, who is coming off a 5th place finish at the Fit World Pro just 3 weeks ago. And unfortunately, Justin had some food poisoning at that show. So this look right here is not necessarily indicative of what he's capable of, I believe. I think Justin's got a lot more in the tank. This is probably Justin at, I would estimate, 75%. Jared, what do you think we're going to see from Justin this time around?
Awesome, man. Justin's another great guy. I think that what we're going to see from Justin this time around is we're going to see better fullness. I think we're going to see better conditioning. Those two things are going to kind of work hand in hand in order to bring him in. I would say, I'd have to agree, Brant. We're probably going to see a solid 30% better Justin on stage this Saturday coming up.
Yeah, so look out for Justin. He's definitely going to be in contention for one of those top spots. I would expect him to certainly be in that first call out. So look out for Justin. Next up, we've got Michael Bell. And Michael's last appearance was at the Pittsburgh Pro last year. It wasn't necessarily his best showing, but what I really like about Michael is his shape. I think he's got great structure, just a very balanced physique here. Jared, what are your thoughts on Michael and his physique?
I'd have to agree, man. Michael, he's a taller guy, another taller guy. So one thing you can kind of see in the lineups, they hold their size very, very well. Excuse me. I think that Michael is bringing better conditioning from maybe his previous showing, which is showing that he's still improving. So that's good to see, man. This is a guy who I think could very easily be in the top 10, and definitely give that potential first call outs a push.
So that's Michael Bell for you guys. Next up, we've got Rodrigo Coelho out of Brazil, and he is a Masters pro, I believe, turned pro at the Muscle Contest National in Brazil Masters last year. And what you guys can see is his strongest body part is probably his quads. There's so much detail and separation in his legs, and I think he's got some insane wheels. And I'll be intrigued to see where he places in that Masters lineup as well, because in addition to the Open lineup, we do have a couple of Masters classes. So that is Rodrigo Coelho out of Brazil. Next up, Conor Denley, aka Conan the Comedian. What do you think about Conan's physique, Jared?
Conan, man, Conan looks really, really good. Excuse me. He's once again another taller guy, so that's always a good advantage. I think Conan brings excellent conditioner. Conan brings excellent conditioning. Conan, I don't know what he prefers, but respect to either way, Conan. His conditioning is definitely not going to be a problem. I think that with this being his first year as a pro, he's just got to continue to work out his fullness and continue to just keep improving. He's looking like he's making a lot of improvements since he turned pro.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, this is from his previous showing at the Fit World Pro, which was his pro debut. He took 9th there. And in conversation with him, he's got so much room to grow. He's a really tall guy. He was in Class D, which is the tallest class in classic physique at the amateur level. So I want to say he's something like 6'2", maybe 6'3". So he is a huge guy. And I think he's got about 17 pounds left to make his weight cap. So he's got so much room to grow. And he's already nailed the condition. Him and his coach, Paulie Swoles, definitely had the look down. It's just a matter of adding the size over time. So that is Conor Denley, aka Conan the Comedian. Next up, we have Sharandi Duran out of Curacao. And this is his pro debut. You can see here that we've got some footage of him in classic physique trunks. He actually won his pro card in men's physique at the Masters level at NPC Universe in 2022. So I believe he's also competing in the Masters division. So look out for him as well in the Masters division in his classic debut. Next up, a guy who is definitely a threat to the title. We've got Daniil Fampont, aka Black Rambo. What are your thoughts on Black Rambo, Jared?
Daniil, man, this is a very, very solid competitor here. Right off the bat, he's like Brant said, he's in contention for the title, especially off of this last placing with the Fit World Pro. He's a very complete guy. He just turned pro last year. So this is like his second or third pro. Is this his second pro show or third pro show?
So this is his third. He did Optimum last year. He took 5th at Optimum behind, some really talented guys, and then he took 3rd at Fit World this year.
Yeah. So with this being his third show, I would expect that he could potentially win. He could potentially get another second or third place at this show. He's very, very solid. Conditioning's to the point. It's like looking at him move around, watching him pose, there's not really any glaring weak points. So, maybe just a little bit more chest. If he can improve that chest fullness a little bit, he might be able to, win this war. Actually, I take that back. His chest fullness looks great here, honestly, when you hit that side chest. So, it'll be exciting to see what he brings on Saturday, because he says he's going to be coming in a little bit harder and a little bit fuller. So, I think as long as you know what you're doing, you can absolutely do that. And I think that if we see that, then it'll definitely be in the conversation without much question.
So that is Daniil Fampont. Next up, we have Jared Feather out of Las Vegas, Nevada. So Jared's last appearance was at the Texas State Pro last year, where he took 9th place. And the biggest thing that I notice about Jared is his delts. His delts just pop out at you. He has some of the best delts out there. Great quads as well. Really, the only question mark that has ever been there for Jared is his back. You're not going to see any back shots in these photos, but Jared definitely nails the condition every time he's on stage. He's improved his posing, and I know he's actually been playing around with not only, introducing more volume and playing with his back training to try to bring up his back, but also tweaking his posing, especially in the lower body, trying to hit down on the glutes and the adductors as well in that back double bicep, and that's really been a focus for him as well. And what's really cool about Jared is he's kind of known as almost like a top celebrity trainer. Like he's training Nick Walker now, which is crazy. So he's doing some awesome stuff in the bodybuilding space. What do you think about Jared's physique?
Jared's physique, man. Jared, we share names, so automatically respect the dude. But me and Jared, we've had a few conversations. I like him a lot. In terms of his physique, I think the Jared's bringing something definitely, that should be compared against the top. He's got the size. He's tall. He's a taller guy. He's got the great conditioning. If you ask me, I would like to see his legs maybe just a little bit harder, and then we could definitely put him in that first call out, no question.
Yeah, and he and I were actually talking about the legs in the DMs, I think yesterday or the day before, and he said these pictures were taken when he was just super flat, and I think his
Okay.
legs are subject to like a little bit more flatness than
Yeah.
most
If he comes
people's.
in, yeah, I can kind of see that his legs are probably flat because I've seen his legs full too, and I agree that they're flat. So yeah, if when he's ripping full, man, like it'll be hard. It'll be hard to guess what he'll bring, but he'll bring something amazing. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So that's Jared Feather, guys. Next up, we've got Tony Harris, a Masters Pro. And what you'll notice about Tony is he's just a very dense guy. He is
Very
out of
good.
the Charlotte, North Carolina area as well. And he last competed at the Savannah Pro last year. So he'll be in the Masters lineup as well, I believe. That's Tony Harris. Next up, a bit of a wild card. And this is one of my favorite guys in this lineup. Jared, who are we looking at here?
We're looking at Sporty Barry Irving. This
And
guy right here, man, he's
and
he's,
what
he's
are
a
his
good friend. So
strengths?
I'll start off with that. But looking at his physique very, very objectively, Sporty has filled in a lot of gaps in his physique. Not to say that he had a lot of gaps, that's what we're constantly doing. We're constantly filling up gaps, and I would say that is what Sporty and his coach, I think he's working with Ray Baker now, have been able to do. Sporty has one of the absolute best shapes, if you have to ask me, in classic physique. He brings some of the best posing, as you guys probably saw. Lee Haney and him work together a lot. Obviously, his coach Ray Baker is an amazing posing coach. Sporty, his conditioning, I'd have to say, is the best that I've seen it for this far out from a show. Once again, still staying objectively, I think that Sporty, if you have to ask me, I believe that he's definitely a first call out guy at this show. It'll be very exciting to see how he's compared against some of the more denser guys, because one thing, Sporty has good size, but one thing that I will say is that we could see a little bit more density throughout his physique that would make him maybe just a little bit more dominant. But with that being said, with the conditioning, with the shape that he brings, with the posing that he brings, he's a wild card for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. And I think this is saying a lot in this lineup, but I think he's good enough to win. That's how good he
He
is.
is.
And he took second at the Savannah Pro in 2021, which was a pretty deep lineup. So I think Sporty is very capable of making some noise in this lineup. So that's Barry Irving, aka Sporty. Next up, we've got Jason Jagadiswaran, and he turned pro at the 2021 North Americans in Masters Classic Physique. Very solid shape here. He's also going to be in that Masters lineup, so look out for him. He does not have Instagram, so that's why we're not pulled up on it, but you can catch his photos over here on NPC News Online. Next up, we got David Camphy, and he last competed at the Fit World Pro 3 weeks ago. And what do you think are some David's strengths, Jared?
David, man. I mean, those lats. I mean, come on now. Those lats are amazing, man. He's got great arm. I would say great arm symmetry as well. A good full chest all the way through. Good delts. Great delts, actually, now that we see the side chest. Great upper chest. Looks like he'll be bringing awesome conditioning as well.
Yeah, and I think probably the one area for improvement from that Fit World Pro, something that he could control, is actually bringing slightly sharper conditioning, because
Yeah.
what I noticed in the show photos was a little bit of wateriness kind of in the quads. So I think if David just brings the condition a little bit more, he could be a threat to be in that first call out, especially because he packs a lot of muscle on that frame. He's a very
He
tall
sure does.
guy. And as we know, a lot of tall guys get the nod in classic for that big frame. So David is certainly a guy to watch out for. Next up, we've got Michael McKenzie Sr., another Masters pro. So he turned pro at Masters Nationals last year, and this is also his pro debut. So look out for Mike McKenzie Sr. in his pro debut. Next up, we've got Kelvin Ogbibor. And Kelvin is probably one of the most underrated guys in this lineup, in my opinion. Jared, what do you think are some of his strengths with his physique?
Man, I mean, looking at him right up, right off the front of, right, hitting this front shot here. You see that he's got good quad sweeps. He's got a very, very small waist. He's got very wide lats, very round shoulders. He's a very complete looking guy. It's a little hard to see the conditioning from these pictures. So, I won't say conditioning anything here, but in terms of the symmetry of the size and the mass, I mean, this guy, he's got those things that, those things alone with the right conditioning can help you win a show. And yeah, I mean, bringing the right condition, this guy, he could be in contention too. He looks awesome.
Yeah, and just some stats on Kelvin. So Kelvin won the 2020 USA's, actually no, 2020 Nationals overall in classic physique. So a very talented guy, and he beat a lot of guys in that show who are now IFBB pros and placing in the first call out. So what Kelvin is going to bring to the stage is just a lot of balance and proportion. And he's actually coming off of a very, very serious car accident 2 years ago that put him in the hospital and nearly killed him. So Kelvin is making his return to the stage, and this will be his pro debut. I think Kelvin, if he nails the condition, will be in that conversation for the top 5, maybe top 6. And he is also coached by Ray Baker. So that he's going to be bringing great stage presence, and he's got the right camp behind him. So that is Kelvin Ogbibor.
Awesome, man. That's amazing too to hear, what he came back from, man. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next up on the lineup card, you will see that we have Olusomo Oni. He's a scratch, so he's aiming for later shows. So we will not be showing him. But after him, we've got Damian Patrick, who took second at the Fit World Pro 3 weeks ago. What do you think about Damian?
Damian, in my personal opinion, I talked about it. I think Damian has all the tools that, to win big shows. I think the conditioning was an issue for him, in the past. I think that's something that has been extremely improved on, very, very greatly improved on. I mean, you guys can see from that video just right there, how conditioned his quads are. So I think a little bit harder, just a little bit harder, Damian. And this guy right here, he could win any show, man. Any of the normal regular season shows.
Yeah, I think his shape is probably the best in the entire lineup. Really, the only question marks that he's ever had has been the condition and the posing. And I talked to his coach, David Demesquita, and he definitely has been working on the posing. I know that. They've been working on the condition. His posing was definitely better at the last show, as well as his condition. And I think really it's just harder for Damian to nail the condition from the back. I've noticed that he struggles with a little bit with water retention and maybe a little bit of fat loss kind of in that lower back, as well as, the glutes and hamstrings. But if he just comes in just a touch sharper, he might win this show, guys.
He might, man.
All right. So next up, we got Jeffrey Robbins. And Jeff made his last appearance at the Legion Sports Fest in the Masters 40 plus division in 2021. And what I notice about his physique is just a lot of density and thickness. And you'll want to watch out for him as well in that Masters lineup. He's also doing the Open Classic Physique division. Next up, Lamar Shaw. And Lamar is the only Olympian in this lineup. He's coached by Chris Aceto, the 2022 Warrior Classic champion. Jared, what do you think about Lamar?
Lamar, this guy right here, man, he's a real deal. He's an Olympian for a reason. The balance, the symmetry, the conditioning, the posing, the confidence on the stage, it's all there. It's all there. I'm very excited to see what improvements he brought this year.
Yeah, Lamar is the biggest surprise in this lineup. I was not expecting to see him jump into this just a few months after the Olympia, but I think he's trying to nail that qualification down
Get it
just
early
so he can get back to the Olympia this year. Kind of a smart move, if you ask me. So we're going to be looking out for Lamar in this show. Definitely a contender for that top spot. And lastly, we have Jay Yount, and he is from San Antonio, Texas. This is his pro debut. He won the 2022 Junior Nationals in my home state of Tennessee. And what I notice about Jay is he has a complete package. He has the shape, he has the density, he has the width. Really, the biggest question mark in my mind is going to be size. Is he going to be able to stack up with these other guys in terms of size? What do you just like from these shots right here, Jared? What do you think are some of his best shots?
best shots, man. I mean, we can stay right here on this quarter turn, man. I mean, look at it's this is another one of those types of shots where you can see all the different muscle groups that we're looking for. You can see the delts, you can see the triceps. That upper chest is nice and full. Glutes are hard. Legs are separated. You can see the hamstrings and the quads. The tie-ins between all three of those. Let's see some more of his shots, man.
Yeah, for sure. So that front double, man, I think his lats and his arms in that front double are just nuts. Probably, in my opinion, the only thing where I would say things could come up a bit. What do you think I would say?
Personally, I would like to see just a little bit more quad sweep. Not that his quad sweep is bad, but being a taller guy, it's a little bit harder to have that big sweeping quad sweep. Once you have it, it's very, very dominant. But I think a little bit more quad sweep for him. Maybe just a little bit more. I really, really like how his lats and his chest flow together. I would love to see them get just a little bit bigger with the same proportions.
Yeah, and I do think his quads have come up a bit because if you look at your Nats win, I mean, I think a lot of it too is, yeah, I think it's exacerbated by just how big his lats are because he has huge lats.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So maybe I really, really do. Once again, I like the symmetry and the proportions between his upper chest, his lower chest, his lats, and all that kind of stuff right there. I think you're absolutely right, man. I mean, I think it's just an overall size thing. That you guys know that was a big issue for me all of last year. When you're young, you have some beautiful shape, beautiful conditioning, things like that. It just takes a little bit of time to build that tissue. But man, once he gets it, he'll be dangerous. I think he'll do very well in his pro debut. I think he should be proud.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a top 10 lock in this lineup.
Sure. I agree with that. 100%.
I'll be intrigued to see how he looks next to some of these vets who are placing in the first call out of shows. So that's our full lineup, guys. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into our top 5 picks. I'm gonna throw the lineup back here for you guys.
I'll grab my phone too. Here we go.
And as the special guest, we're gonna let Jared go first with his top 5. Do you wanna go in order, or you wanna go no particular order?
Let me pull up my list again, man. So we're gonna do top five first, right?
Yep, we'll do top 5, and then we'll pick a winner.
Top 5. Damn, man, you made this one hard, bro.
I know, because that 6-7 is just like hard. The 5, 6, 7.
It really, really is. Okay, so I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start just like I'm gonna just start naming some names without any particular order first, and then after that, we'll kind of hash it out a little bit. But I've got Shaw, I've got Patrick, I've got Fonte, I've got that's where it gets really, really hard. That's where it gets really, really hard. Ooh. Honestly, too, I really appreciate, us kind of taking another look at some of these guys because it did give me a little bit more time to, take some second reevaluation. But I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna put Irving in there. put Barry Irving in there, and then oof, I'm not going to sleep on Batterina. I'm gonna put Batterina in there in the top 5 as well.
All right, so Jared's top 5, we've got, and this is in no order. We've got Lamar Shaw, Damian Patrick, Barry Irving, aka Sporty, Daniil Fampont, aka Black Rambo, and Justin Batterina. Do you want to give them an order, or you want me to take that one away?
You do your top 5 first.
All
Unless
right,
you're
I'll
doing
do
it in
my
order.
top 5 in no order. So I've got Justin Batterina, Daniil Fampont, Barry Irving, Damian Patrick, and Lamar Shaw, the exact same top 5. Now, I was struggling with that too, because I really wanted to put, and you guys might think this is a surprise, but I was really thinking about Kelvin Ogbibor in that top
Yeah.
5. I think he
Oh yeah.
has a ton of potential in this lineup, as well as Jared Feather,
Yep.
potentially even Jay Yant. I think those guys are also going to be battling with those guys in kind of the 4 to 6 range. But my top 5 is the exact same as Jared's. In order, though, do you want me to go first, or you want to take it away?
Before you say what it's in order, I would like to just kind of give some special shout outs. Personally, I think that Thomas Allen could definitely make his way into that top 5, as well as the other names that you mentioned. Some of the lineups that I would really like to see are Barry Irving versus Justin. That to me would be a really good lineup. I would love to see Oljabor, Feather, and Yaunt and Allen potentially in a call out. That would be really interesting. But with that being said, I guess we'll jump into order.
All right, man. You want to go 5 and then pick your winner?
Oof. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. So all right. So this is just based off of some of the things we've seen so far this season, and kind of um keeping the idea that anything can happen. But I'm gonna go with some safe bets here first. Right now, I'm going to put Barry in 5th. Now, the only reason why is because I haven't seen him yet this year or last year, so that's the only reason why.
All right, so you got Barry Irving in 5th. I'm going to go ahead and give my 5th pick. My 5th pick is going to be, I'm looking again at this lineup. Who did I pick? I got Black Rambo in 5th, and
Okay.
it's not for any particular reason. I think it's probably just because he's going up against a lot of veterans in that top 5. And I think he probably, I don't want to say you have to earn your stripes too much, but I do think that a lot of these other guys have a little bit more stage experience, and that might pay off in the big moment when things get tough. And I also think just having Sporty and Lamar Shaw thrown into that lineup, other than the guys who are at Fit World like Justin and Damian, I think that's going to throw a wrench in some things and might create some separation there. So I've got Black Rambo in 5th, but he's good enough to win this show. So that's my 5th pick.
Awesome. I guess we'll jump into 4th, man. My 4th pick right now is kind of based off of what we've seen so far this season, based off of what we've seen last year. I think Justin brought a ton of improvements. He brought a ton of improvements, but I do believe that he needs just a little bit more completeness in order to edge out some of the guys that have beaten so far this year.
All right, so Jared's 4th pick, we got Justin Batterina. My 4th place spot, I'm going to go with Barry Irving, aka Sporty. I think that he's the best poser in this lineup, a complete physique. But I do think what it's going to come down to is probably 1, condition, and 2, size. And I think in terms of size, the 3 guys that I've got ahead of him are going to outsize him and probably beat him at the shape game as well. And that's not to say Barry doesn't have fantastic shape, because he does. I think these guys just might have a little bit more width, and that's going to probably appeal to the judges just a bit more. So I've got Barry Irving, aka Sporty, in 4th place.
All right. Sounds good, man. For 3rd, I've got Daniel. I've got Famponte. I picked Daniel because Daniel, it was really close between him and Patrick. But I think that even with Daniel's significantly, I wouldn't say significantly, but his superior conditioning at the last show, that to me should have been kind of the mark to say, okay, he would have beaten Patrick at that show. But Patrick, I think his size and his shape is just a little bit more dominant than Daniel's conditioning. So I've got Daniel in third place here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he could potentially pull ahead of Patrick, Damien here.
All right, so we got Daniil Fampont in third place for Jared. My third place pick, and this is going to be so close. I think this could be a 1-point decision. I've got Damian Patrick in third place, and I think this is a tough one for me, but I think it just comes down to how sharp he is. He very well could win this show if he comes in sharper than Fit World, but I'm just going off of data from the past, and we haven't seen the best version of Damian yet. I don't know if we're going to see it this time around, but what I am expecting is for the two guys that I have ahead of him, what they're going to do is they're going to beat him in the condition game, and they're going to beat him in the posing game. I think that's where the separation is going to come. These guys are going to come in a little bit sharper, and they're probably going to present their physiques a little bit better. I do think Damian has a little bit more refining left to do in his posing, but this guy's shape is good enough to hang with the best, so anything can happen here. So I've got Damian in third place.
Awesome. In second place, I've got Damian Patrick. I think he's going to bring better condition, better presentation than we saw in Fit World. I think the judges really do like his look, and I think that they are going to reward it for him. I mean, not just reward it in the sense that the judges. All right, I'll clarify this real quick. Judges don't reward a specific look. You beat whoever you're better than. It's all there is to it. I think that those improvements are going to be enough for him to pull ahead.
So Jared's got Damian Patrick in second place. My second place finisher is going to be Justin Batterina. He took 5th at the Fit World Pro, and I think we're going to see a much better version of Justin here. I do think his arms could come up a little bit more, but I think Justin's shape and his condition will carry him extremely far. He's probably the second best poser in this lineup. And I think what the difference here for Justin is he's not going to have food poisoning this time around. He's going to come in absolutely sharp. Him and his coach, Dan Houghton, have the plan down. He's going to execute, and Justin's going to display the best look that we've seen to date. So I've got Justin Batterina in second place. And who is your winner, Jared?
I think we can all agree that from what we've seen so far, it'll most likely be Lamar Shaw.
So Lamar Shaw is Jared Key's pick to win. He's also my pick to win. The only Olympian in this lineup, I feel like it's probably the safest bet given that. And what really, really separates Lamar from the pack, I think, is not only his condition, because I think he's probably going to be the sharpest guy in the show without question. I think having had more time to work with Aceto over this offseason, even though it was very short, I think they've got the game plan just nailed down. And that's going to really give Lamar a leg up. He's a veteran competitor, and I just have a lot of confidence in Lamar. If he doesn't win the show, I would be a bit surprised, but I also think there's plenty of other guys who could win this show. So I say this with a moderate degree of confidence, but I do believe Lamar Shaw is going to win.
I have to totally agree. I mean, one thing that we've seen, he played the video from Gilco Production at the Olympia with Lamar earlier, and you guys can clearly see that he's got. I mean, that condition right there, that's Olympia level conditioning, guys. That's Olympia level posing. That's Olympia level size, symmetry, all those kind of things like that. I think that, just like Brant said, some of these guys, could definitely give him a serious run for his money. If he comes in off, it's anybody's show. But if he comes in at 100%, we'll see the best Lamar Shaw we've seen to date, and he's not going to get beat.
So that's it, guys. That's the preview for the 2022 Charlotte Pro. I want to thank my special guest, Jared Keys, IFBB Pro. Make sure you guys follow him at Jared Keys Bodybuilding on Instagram. Tune in to the Charlotte Pro and follow me on Instagram at CPC Bodybuilding for all the latest classic coverage. Thanks for watching, guys.